Today I want to talk to you about career strategy. How do you know what job to choose or where do you want to go next? Well, basically you need to answer the question, what is it that I really want to do? In my case, I came to a different country. I was born in Peru and I came to the US around 2006 and I had no idea. And it was very difficult in the beginning. Things were complicated. I didn't go to college. And the first, I would say, year or so, I was trying to get hired. I wanted to do something related to sports, which was where I was coming from. That was the experience that I had. Suddenly, I started discovering that I really like technology. So how could I get closer to technology while trying to leverage my income? I was doing a little bit of sports, I was doing training, and so how can I get from sports to technology? First thing is that I knew that I really like technology, so I wanted to basically get closer to it. But how do you go from one thing to the other thing? And the first step is to have a strategy. The first step is to know what is that you want and then pursue that. So it became almost like an algorithm. And so if you think about, or even like a database. So think about this problem as a thing where you can ask some questions, and depending on your strategy, you can get some questions, you can get some answers back. So in my case, it was well, I want to do some technology, and so if something was coming along that would say, hey, do you want to do something related to sports over here, or do you want to do a little bit of more of get closer to technology? There's a contract work for a few hours. That was an easier answer. In the beginning, it was very difficult because I was changing careers, but I got this offer to work from 2 in the morning to 10 in the morning. So I was going to work for 8 hours from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. And initially it was just for 2 or 3 days. And I said, yeah, I'll take it. I had zero previous experience. I didn't go to college, so I have nothing really to prove that I knew something, that I knew the things that they wanted me to do. And but I was curious, and I would go to the library, and I go to the bookstore and read books about technology, specifically about Linux, which is what I liked. And going through that was like, okay, well, this seems like something that it's a good opportunity. I'll take it. It will take me closer to technology. It will take me closer to doing the things that I like to do. And so it was very hard. I did it for 2 or 3 days. And then this company said, well, we can't find anyone else to continue doing this because it's 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. Would you mind doing it for another week? And I did it for another week, and then for 2 more weeks. And then that got extended to 5 months. And I did it every day. I couldn't stop. They couldn't find anyone to just say, well, on the weekends, we'll get someone else to do that work. It was very hard work. It was very difficult. I gained a lot of weight because I would wake up 2 in the morning to try to eat whatever I could, usually sweet stuff. And I started gaining weight while at the same time trying to keep doing my work that was related to sports. So what I'm trying to say here with these stories is that whenever you have a strategy in place of where you want to go, things become much, much easier. And I'll tell you a couple of other stories. But first, I just want to make clear that this journey towards doing what you like, it's not like a single objective that you go towards and then that's it. It continues to evolve. Your opinions will change. Just like we grow as human beings, like we go through our teenage years and we change our way of thinking. Well, you might get married, or you might start a family, or your family situation might change in the future. And so your work and your interests might change with time. And so I think it's important to choose a good strategy. So how does career strategy work? So let's go here and let's try to start putting together a strategy. And I'll tell you what happened with me specifically. So let's have here career strategy. So what happened with me was that I've had like years and years of doing stuff with Python, and I knew I liked Python, but then suddenly started getting exposed to a little bit of machine learning. And so those two things were pretty interesting to me, but I was not feeling happy because at the time I was doing a bunch of Golang. Nothing against Golang, but I wasn't that into Golang, and so let's put Python. Let's put Python here. So what you need to do, or what I did in this case, was I defined what were my interests. What are the things that really resonate with me? So I have Python over here. Python. And then I really liked machine learning. So, but before we go into machine learning, let's go and so we're gonna circle this guy. And then I really like machine learning, so I'm going to put machine learning over here. And so now I have machine learning in Python. And so you start, or in this case, I started creating like a personal Venn diagram that reflected my career interests. So Python, machine learning, that sounds pretty interesting. And right around that time, O'Reilly came up and said, "Hey, we think that something with creating a book." So let's put O'Reilly here. O'Reilly said, "Hey, there's this thing called MLOps. Do you want to write a book about it?" And so MLOps book. And so I said, well, let's see. We have a little Venn diagram here, and so O'Reilly comes about the MLOps opportunity. So now the Venn diagram becomes like an algorithm, like a database where I can ask questions and I can get some responses. So let's see. O'Reilly asks about MLOps book. It's a ton of work. I already have a job. And so this is extra work, right? And so I go here and say, let's ask my little strategy Venn diagram thing here. And so it's like, well, that's going to be a little bit of Python, a little bit of ML. What does that mean? Well, that means like a resounding yes. So I did that, and I said, well, okay, that's great, and worked really hard with the book. The practical MLOps book, and that went really well. It was a ton of work, but it resonated with me, right? Now Golang is still like here. Golang is still here. I was doing a bunch of command line tools, and but Golang is not interesting to me, right? So it's not part of these. So if that means that if there's a company that today says like, hey, you want to do some Golang, I'm gonna be like, well, I don't. Let's ask these things. Well, it doesn't really apply, right? And then I realized, wait a second, I have some skills. I really like public speaking. I like creating content. So let's put content here. I really like creating content. So I enjoy writing the books. Like I've written several books. I like producing content. And so let's make these another bubble over here. So our Venn diagram is starting to get a little bit here filled up. So content, Python, machine learning, public speaking, perhaps a little bit of travel. So let's put travel here. maybe a little bit of travel. Getting kind of like a weird Venn diagram here, trying to get to that corner. So I have travel, content, Python, ML. That sounds really good. And when the O'Reilly book was going on, and I was producing another course about machine learning operations, I started having a really good relationship with Microsoft, and I really liked what Microsoft was doing. Right, so Microsoft was over here, and I figured out, wait a second. So Python, machine learning, content. So that almost sounds like a developer advocate or a developer relations position, where with your engineering background, with your experience, doing production stuff, then I also like to speak and produce content. So that sounds like a good fit for someone that does developer relations. So I found that this Venn diagram, what this Venn diagram really meant was I should probably be gearing towards a developer advocacy or developer relations. And so it happens, a position. So it happens that Microsoft over here had a bunch of positions open for that, and Microsoft said, "Hey, we have a developer relations, a cloud advocacy position open, and you're gonna be doing a little bit of Python. You're gonna be doing a little bit of ML. Like, we really like the stuff with MLOps that you've been doing. Okay, that sounds great. And you're gonna have to be doing a bunch of content. Travel, probably not so much because of the pandemic." And so they ask, are these things really interesting to you? So let me see. Let's go over here to my little self-answering algorithm here. And it was, well, let's see, Python, ML, content, travel. And yes, it was perfect. So that meant that this was a perfect position for me. But this comes with effort, right? This Venn diagram comes with a ton of effort. I have to really think through what are the things that I really like. Does this make sense? How can I define these in a good way? Now, for me, it's Python, ML, content, maybe a little bit of travel. I really like other things. You can't for sure say, well, I really like video games and not doing anything around and not working, because then that wouldn't work, right? Like, this works when these are skills that skills and perhaps, well, travel is not necessarily a skill, but when these things come together, you kind of like create like a unique version of your skills. Like, I like producing content, I like writing, I like public speaking, I have experience doing Python and ML. What does that mean? It's like, well, wait a second, that sounds like a cloud advocate. Like, if you really like algorithms and learning new languages and not doing anything regarding operations, well, perhaps this will look different. But the answers that you will get for your career strategy over here are going to be very, very good, very accurate, because you're going to define exactly what this looks like. Now, in your Venn diagram, maybe you in Python is more important or ML is more important. And so you start balancing a little bit, but defining this is absolutely 100% critical. And it also helps understand things that you don't like Golang over here. Like, I was like, well, learning new languages is not necessarily something that I like. And what do we do there? Well, I asked Microsoft, like, do I need to learn more languages? Like, do I need to write code? Do I need to sit down in Scrum meetings? Like, I don't, that's another thing. Let's see. Let's put Scrum over here. I don't like Scrum meetings, and I think they're not very good, and so that combination of things, we're like, oh, I don't. Are we gonna be doing some Scrum stuff in there with the developer relations positions? So, well, not really. It's like, oh, okay. Well, it sounds like we have a perfect yes here and a good position. Now, This in the future may change, right? In the future, it might not be Python. It might be, I don't know, maybe I like a different language, or ML starts getting to be not so much, and I prefer more data science, data science or data engineering in particular, and not ML. And so why not? Like these changes, like as time goes by, things change, your thinking changes, your experience shifts, you get exposed to other things, and you start being like exposed to these other things that might be more interesting or less interesting, in processes and new technology that allows you to get into better places mentally as well. You can be sure that, like, how can I be sure if this decision is the right one? Well, let me look at my bubbles here that I have. Is it Python? Is it content? Is it data engineering or machine learning, like it was in my case? Yes, it is. Oh, okay, perfect. So I now feel more confident that this is the right path for me. And so I hope that, just like what I've described here was for me, that you can create your own bubbles and define what that looks for you, and that can help you get to a better place, make better decisions about your career, and start setting up a career strategy that will work well for you.